Hello guys and welcome back to another video. Today we are setting up my bullet journal for November, and I must say that I really wanted to make a dark academia theme, which was a theme that I was leaving for the 2026 new journal setup, but I was just itching to do it early, so I decided to make the November theme the Dark Academia, and for 2026, we'll see later. For this beautiful theme, I had to use beautiful stickers as well, so I'm going to use these sticker sheets and pre-cut PET tape from Paper Monogatari, or Anna from Journal Away here on YouTube, and this is from the Academia collection on our website. As usual, I'll leave everything linked down below, together with some discount codes. Usually I start by making a collage, but this time around I didn't have a plan. I literally just knew I wanted to use one of the angel statues on that specific place. You can see my pencil marks on the page, but everything else was pretty much going with the flow, which sometimes turns out very nice and sometimes not so much. But to make things more easy for myself, I started by making the title. And I used this capital letter in this gothic font, and it's one that I use all the time in my reading journal, especially in the Legacy of Gods series by Rina Kent. And then I used my normal alphabet wooden stamps to make the rest of the word. I could use my stamp pad for this, but the brown that I have isn't the brown that I wanted to use, so I used for the entire setup an acrylic marker from Artex, which works really well with the stamps, and I have plenty of colors to choose from. Sometimes the gothic stamp wouldn't work so well, but that's because I was stamping on top of the journal, and since it's pretty full, the pages are not so flat, so I had to really push it down for it to stamp completely. I made the title first because I wanted the position of the title to look very nice along with the collage, so I was moving it around with the stickers and the washi tapes and seeing where it would fit, where it would look better and things like that. For the collage, I went with my usual technique, should I say. I first put all the materials from the background on the page, so all the materials that can be layered on top of each other, like the papers and washi tapes. And then I could go in with more texture materials, such as the frame, and then finally put some stickers on top of everything. I can't explain very much because, as I said before, it's basically moving things around and seeing what looks good next to each other. And it's a trust the process moment because sometimes it looks like something is missing until you put another thing on top. So just trust your gut and see where it goes. Also, if in the end you don't like it, just put something to cover it on top of everything and start again. On the left page I'm doing a quote, but I really wanted the collage on the right to be the main focus, so to differentiate between these two pages, I put this big brown paper that looks like a wallpaper design that covers the whole page, and it also fits the aesthetic, because when I think of dark academia, I think of browns and dark browns, so this is a good match. Also, it's not bulky at all, it's really thin. It's actually from a set that I got from Journal Say. I'll have the whole video coming up soon, so you can see it then, but I'll link it down below as well if it's still available. On the PET tape and on the stickers there are some quotes that are in Latin, so I think it would be very cool to also put a Latin quote on this page, and I found this one. Memento mori, memento vivere, and this means remember you must die, so remember to live. And come on, I think this is the whole vibe of this aesthetic. It's very dark but real in the same way, and I think it's very cool, so I made it in the same way as the title. Of course, I ran out of my glue tape while doing this, and I didn't have any spare of the glue tape, and neither of my glue stick. So I had to make the rest of this setup using my glue pen. And it was a struggle, but thankfully I just had to use it on the papers because the rest was washi tape or stickers. We are now on the calendar spread because I lost some footage doing the decoration on the quote page. And for this, I honestly didn't have a clue on what I wanted the spread to look like, so I decided to just start by doing the same layout as I usually do for the calendar and see where it goes from there. And while I was doing it, I remembered that I had those beautiful corner stickers that I used on the cover page, so I decided to make the calendar look like a frame. I drew a frame all around it and I color it with a water-based marker from Ohuhu in this dark brown, and then I put the corners. To fill that gap on the top of the calendar, I put this amazing bookshelf washi tape, also from Paper Monogatari, and I thought it was still kinda empty, so I used this beige mild liner to color the top line on each row of the calendar, and that's where I'm going to put the number of each day. I wasn't very careful with the coloring because I really wanted that messy look. I think the whole dark academia aesthetic is not based on perfection, at least in my opinion, I could be wrong. So I decided to leave the mistakes on the page and not cover them. For the decoration, I'm going to decorate all around the calendar with the same things I used before. And while I'm doing this, I wanted to tell you that even though this is my favorite time of the year for journaling, because we are really close to start new journals for the new year, and I can already think on what journals I'm going to have and what themes I could do, this is a very hard time for me personally because I'm in a journaling slump, I think. I have very good ideas, but I can't find the energy or creativity to do them, and it's frustrating. And I also haven't used my bullet journal in a long time. When I'm more busy, I struggle to keep up with it, which is kind of weird because that's why we have a bullet journal, is to help us manage our time and our to-do list, but that doesn't happen for me. But I still like to have the spreads done for when I use them, even if it's not all the time. Don't get me wrong, I love journaling and making these setups every month, but I'm just saying that this last quarter is the hardest for me in terms of creativity. And I'm actually quite pleased with how this theme turned out. It was better than my expectations because I went without any plan on regards of the decoration, but it worked out in the end. Moving on, we have the task spread. And I explain this in every setup video, but for those who are new and don't know what this means, this is kinda like a brain dump. It's a spread that I leave mostly empty except for the decoration, and here I make my to-do lists. Before I made this spread, I used to put my to-do lists on my weeklies, but I found out that didn't work for me because I have many tasks that last many days or even weeks at a time, like my editing for my videos or my own design projects, so having it written every day or every week wasn't helping. So I decided to compile everything in one single spread and leaving the weeklies for appointments or events like birthdays, doctor appointments, holidays, things like that. And in this task spread, I can write every task that I have to do for that month. And I don't do any specific layout like tables or columns because my tasks change from month to month and it's easier to just write things down without worrying about the space. Next we have the first weekly, and for this one, since the first and second day of November fall on the weekend, I decided to put together these 2 days with the following week. So instead of having space for 7 days, I had to make space for 9. The weeklies on this setup are all inspired by Erin Smith. She makes gorgeous themes and she's very creative with her layouts, especially the weeklies because it's something that I struggle with. I love doing Dutch doors because then I can make the same layout in all the weeklies since they are all together in that space and the decoration is really easy. But when I do weeklies like this, one spread for each week, it becomes kinda hard because I don't like turning the page and see the same layout again. It makes me not want to use that, so I do a different layout for each weekly, but that's also hard. So most times I just go see Erin's YouTube or Instagram and let inspiration find me. So for this one is pretty much dividing each page in 6 sections. So in total the spread has 12 sections and I'm going to choose 9 of them for the functional parts. Each section is for a day and the remaining 3 are for decoration. It's so easy to set up and it really helps when we need to compile more than 1 week in one single spread. That silicone stamp that the Gothic font is part of also has these Gothic numbers, so I cut each number individually because they come together in one single stamp, and I used this very old acrylic block that was actually an experiment from my school days when I was learning how to work with CNCs, and I used this block for the smaller stamps, and it works really well. It took me a while to do all the numbers and all the stamping with the letters, but I think the result was worth it. This next weekly has a layout that I actually did before in my July setup. I really liked it, so I decided to do it again. And this consists on doing 4 boxes on each page, so it has space for 7 days and 1 for notes, because I like to keep things symmetrical. And on the left page the boxes are towards the bottom, and on the right they are on the top, and this gives me 2 spaces to decorate. Also for this whole setup I'm using this Zebra Sarasa pen in brown to make all the lines because I didn't want to bring black to the setup. I think the brown matches the theme perfectly and also it's more subtle on the eye while the black would be more heavy. I'm coloring every second line on each box, as I did in the previous weekly, because I think it looks better. It's not so empty, and also when I think of dark academia, I think of maximalism. So the more the better. And it's kinda hard to do maximalism and make it look good because it can become overwhelming quite quickly and we don't want that, so just be careful, don't overdo it. If you think it looks good, don't add anything else. For the third weekly, we are doing a horizontal layout, so we are dividing each page in 6 rows and the top and bottom ones are for decorating, so it leaves us with 8 functional rows, again 7 for the days and 1 for notes. This one is even more easy to set up, but the space for decoration is more limited. It's quite narrow, but it worked out because most of the stickers on the tape are small, so they fit the space just fine. Also, if you like this collection, honestly, if you only buy the PET tape, you can make this theme just fine. It has so many designs on there and different sizes, so you just have to be creative. I know it looks like I'm being sponsored by Anna, but I'm not. I bought this with my own money, but I like to give credit when it's due, and I love Anna's drawing style, so I just like to give a fellow artist and small business the spotlight. We are now on the last weekly, and for this one we are making again 8 boxes, but these ones are smaller than the previous ones and they are all in the same position on both pages. So I have space for decoration all around them instead of just 2 sections. This spread was where I went all out with the maximalism. I just kept adding more and more stickers and I think it looks good, not my best, but it still fits the aesthetic. I made this layout because I knew I wanted to put the bookshelf washi tape right in the middle across the spread. It was kinda the starting point for the rest of the decoration. On this one, I thought of not coloring every second line since I didn't do it on the previous weekly. There was no point of doing that since there wasn't any space because of the horizontal layout, but here I had space. I just had so many elements of decoration that I didn't know if it would look good being so full, but in the end I did it just for consistency. Moving on to the last spread of this setup, this one is my brain dump, or mind unwind. It's a name that I learned from Jashii here on YouTube. She also gives her brain dump page this title, and I think it's more cute than brain dumps, so I'm stealing that idea from myself. Again, this is pretty much the same as the task spread. I'm just decorating and leaving everything else empty, but while the task spread is for, well, tasks, as the name implies, this one I use for anything that comes to mind. So if I remember something and I want to write it somewhere, I put it here. If it's any idea, I put it here as well, and things like that. To differentiate between this spread and the tasks one, I put the decoration on both sides of the spread instead of the top and bottom as I did on the tasks spread. Since this is the last of the setup, I wanted to put all the remaining stickers on the sticker sheets on the pages, so this is a compilation of that. But it looks good nonetheless because I didn't have that many left on the sheets, so I just had to work with what I had. I left this piano purposefully for the end because I had the intention of using this for this particular spread. The brain dump isn't a spread that I use all the time. Sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't. It just depends on what I'm working on or what my mind is thinking, but I like to have it just in case. It's time for the final flip through. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give a like, subscribe, give a hype as well, it's a new thing here on YouTube, and leave a brown heart emoji in the comments to let me know you watched it till the end. This is always my favorite theme to do. It's my personal aesthetic as well. I love the outfits, the vibes, and I'm making my room with those vibes as well, so I really love it. The decoration wasn't planned, but it turned out really beautiful in my opinion. And now that I use this theme for November, I have to come up with something else for the new 2026 journal setup, but you can give me some ideas as well. I would love some inspiration. I hope you have a lovely day or night wherever you are, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!